Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life video podcast. You're listening to 5-Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. And today I want to talk on the subject, how to be single. It seems like a lot of us are single. You know, the men are looking for women, the women are looking for men. You know, there's all these dating apps and everybody is consumed with finding the right person. But a lot of us are still single because of the fact that you're dating, you're going out, you're living together. But guess what? Until he puts the ring on the finger and you say, I do, you're still single. So I think that, there is some instruction that we need, that we should be discussing. There should be a conversation on how to be single correctly so that you will find your life partner, your soulmate. Now, this episode was inspired by me watching a very funny movie that was called How to Be Single, right? And in the movie, they were, the director, writer, whoever, screenwriter, wanted to show 3 different single experiences. Let's put it that way, right? One girl was, looking at sex like a bodily function, like peeing, you know what I mean? She would go to the club, she would, go home with a strange man, wake up in the morning and don't remember who he was because she was drunk. And, then she would maybe not see him again, classic one night stands. And I don't know really why Hollywood does that. But, I'm a little bit old school. I think that's terrible. But Hollywood always seems to go there. A boy meets girl, they hook up, and the next thing you know, they're ripping each other's clothes off the same night, And I know that came from Brad and Angelina Jolie. They made that kind of scene popular because guess what? What does movie producers do? They go for the things that sells. They go for the thing that they like. So everybody now is ripping each other's clothes off and knocking things down and doing it on the top of the table. Or the opposite of that is you wake up in the morning and you look over and you're thinking, oh my God, what did I do? Who was there beside me? And then you put on your clothes and shamefully leave. So that's one experience, right? And I don't know, because I'm not in that scene. I'm not in that age range where, those are the millennials and the Gen X generations that does that. But I will tell you that it's not working. It is not a way to be single. So that's the first girl. Then the second girl, she's going by algorithms, she is here with her laptop and she is saying that, okay, there's 10 million men and 50% of them are, have something wrong with them. And then you take that little group and you're saying, another 50% of that group is married and another 10% of that group is gay and another, whatever. And then she came down to she was doing it with nuts. And out of the 10 million nuts, she came down with 1 nut and then she smashed it. And then she says, that's basically what's left. She takes a little piece and she licks it and, that's what's left. So she wasn't dating anybody. She was, looking at these profiles and trying to figure out an algorithm of what's the best person for her to be. And, when she meet this person, she had all these questions and saying that, that 18 months after she meet this person, that's when she's going to get married. And, actually, it ended up working out for her. But most of the men that she met ran because who's on dating sites? Dating sites are not They're not normally there for somebody that's serious. There's a lot of times it's there for people that want to play. You know what I mean? So that was the second one, right? Digital promiscuity instead of being, going to the club and picking up a guy every night or whatever. And then the third girl had actually broken up with her boyfriend because she wanted to be single. She wanted to experience being alone. And obviously she didn't like that because not everybody is built for that kind of, experience. So she ended up having relationships with men that she wanted more out of, but they were playing. They weren't interested in long-term relationship. One guy even turned off the water to his pipe so that when the girl gets up in the morning, she wouldn't have any water to brush her teeth, so she'll have to leave. His fridge doesn't have any things for her to make breakfast. So it was a very hostile environment. You come, you do the deed, and you leave, right? So, and then there's another guy that, his wife died and he wasn't emotionally available. So here's the single experience, right? You meet a guy that's not emotionally available, that just basically wants your body. He wants to have his biological needs met. And, you're hoping that maybe you get your biological needs met. And that's why there's no coming together, because there's no soulmate energy. You know what I mean? So that's basically the movie, How to Be Single. But I like the way it ends up because, the girl that was doing her stuff on the dating site, she met a guy and got married, right? She was lucky because it's usually like 10%, 1% or whatever, but sometimes you get lucky. Obviously the girl that was, sleeping around and waking up with different men is not going to find her soulmate. And the other girl that wanted to be single after being hurt by all these men that she wanted more and they didn't want more, decided that she was going to spend the time to do the things that she wanted to do. And she was going to spend the time and enjoy being alone. So this is where I come in here as the reason for my take on how to be single. I definitely think that you need to date. I definitely think that you need to be out there. But when you're out there, you have to have a list of the things that you want. It's like a job interview. You know what I mean? My interview, the way I did mine was, hey, do I like him? Do I think I want him to kiss me? Do I feel physically attracted to him? And that's how I choose my relationships in the past. And that's why I've been through so many of them, right? It's not the way to choose them. You've got to, my daughter said something to me, that on the list is somebody that has an internal locus of control, but they're not led by what people think about them or the circumstances around them. So yeah, you gotta have a list of what you want, and it's got to be a pretty detailed list, because you're not going to get everything on it, but the more specific you get, it's better. What race, what religion, tall, you like tall men, short men, skinny men, stock, what kind of job. We don't want to go for the things like, one of my coaching clients said she wanted a guy that had his own house because she doesn't want him moving in on her house. It's good to have a guy that has a house, because not necessarily for the reason that she gave, but because that he's successful and he's working toward maybe getting better, but he's almost halfway there. You don't necessarily want, you don't want it all. A man that's now finding his way and somebody's going to sleep on your couch. I had a guy on my show talks about the woman is working and the guy is sleeping on the couch, smoking a joint and spooning the dog. You don't want that, right? But you want somebody that, is confident, and they are, in their own, they are looking for a woman to complete their experience, whether it's marriage or whether it's just a girlfriend. You definitely don't want the one that is the one that's going out to the bars and picking up the one night stand women and don't want them to be there the next morning when he wakes up, and you don't want to go there, right? But you want to have someone that wants to have the experience, and they're open to, if you are the right one, then they take it to the next step, right? So you also don't want to be, Steve Harvey did a movie the other day that was very cute. It was called, how to keep a man, how to get and keep a man, right? And it was about the rule book. The rule book was, hey, you know what? Don't take the cookie out of the cookie jar after so many dates. A lot of men think that they date you 3 times. Those are the old days. Or, and then you invite them up and then they get to spend the night. Now, this book put it a little further. This movie, I think the movie was based off of a book. And it said that maybe 3 months or something like that, that you didn't take the cookie out of the cookie jar, and the guy had to open doors for you and treat you like a lady. And, he had to refer to you as his girlfriend. Those are kind of rules, but those rules are meant to be there, yes, for your own self-respect. And what do you think that works for you? Not because you read it in a book and you're copying someone else's rules. Several Christian ladies have rules that there's going to be no sex before marriage, or at least no sex until you're engaged. But those are your rules. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I do subscribe to the fact that you shouldn't be sleeping around. You should only be sleeping with somebody that you're in a relationship with. Someone that says, like in the olden days, will you be my girlfriend? I doubt they say that these days, but it's implied, right? And you spend time together, you become friends, you talk, you understand, what his dreams are, he understands what your dreams and goals are, and you're building a friendship. And then the next progression would be the intimate thing, because one of the things that happens is that everybody you sleep with, they'll leave a part of them behind. And it's not the STDs I'm talking about, they leave that too. But they leave a part of their history, their biological chemistry, and they leave it behind. And you are, as women, we are receivers, and we receive all that junk and all that gunk in us. And then, of course, when you're trying to call them and they're not calling you back, and you realize you've been used, all that baggage stays there because you started feeling that you are worthless and you're not worth it. So don't put yourself in that position to be hurt by being easy. Make respect one of your top characteristics, because when you respect yourself, you have confidence. And the flip side of that is that's what men want. They don't want a woman that sleeps with them on the first night. They might say they do, but they really don't, because then it builds distrust. Way down the road, they're going to be thinking that maybe you're sleeping with the gardener, or you're sleeping with their friends or something, because they don't think that you don't value yourself. So, how to be single? I've listed a whole bunch of things. You can go by rules, you can be promiscuous, you can play the online game where they're matching you with things that you want. You can be alone. There's several different ways. You can become gay. Hey, some women are sworn off men because they've been hurt too much. So you can, so there's lots of ways, but the Coach Myrna way is to work on yourself, to become the partner the man is looking for. You don't have to only just have to be sexy. You have to take care of your body. You have to take care of your mind. You have to maybe working towards something. If you have kids, you're a good mother, if you're divorced, you're looking for, companionship, someone to do things with, not necessarily to move in with, whatever it is that you want, then you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself. I call it being in the meantime. What are you doing in the meantime? In next week's episode, I'm going to talk about the meantime experience. Where are you living? Where are you living? Are you living in the basement because you've been hurt so many times that, that's what you are, you're a basement dweller? Or are you living in the attic, right? Where you are fully complete, right? And if the man comes along, he comes along. And if he doesn't, you're just happy being you. But you got to know where you live, and you got to be in the meantime because you're preparing. And if you're preparing, then let's quote Will Smith, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, so you stay prepared. So again, how to be single is a personal experience. You're single now. In the meantime, you're waiting on love. And when you're waiting on love, you've got to be ready for it. You can be at the gas station and meet the love of your life. You can be in the grocery store and meet the love in your life, because when the person shows up, you're prepared. You're prepared. You're mentally prepared. You know how to cook. You know how to take care of yourself. You know how to have a conversation, right? Men are no longer looking for the dumb blonde kind of scenario. You have to be able to talk about events. You've got to be able to, you're listening to this podcast. So, which means that you're in the self-improvement space. That's what men want. They want somebody to be able to have conversations with. And so that's basically it. You need to be prepared. Don't give away your body to any and every person, because your body is your temple. You got to treat it like a temple, because if you don't treat it like a temple, then nobody else is going to treat it like a temple. It's where you live, and you've got to take care of it. So thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna, the video podcast. If you're listening to this on the podcast, then head over to my YouTube channel, look for Transform Your Mind, so you can see my beautiful smile. All right, listen, until next time, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, namaste.